Roland with me is a YouTuber well known for his haunting videos that gather views of over 3,000 on a consistent basis. He may be past his peak, but his content is just the same as before, and it sends chills down the spines of his audience consistently. The video you are about to watch was taken in his actual house, which was rather different compared to his usual paranormal location videos. He would typically venture out into the unknown to discover what he could, but for once, this video brought the suffering to his doorstep. This first clip was captured towards the beginning of his recording and would have scared any man enough to make them scream. However, Roland is one brave person, and he handled this quite maturely. Take a look.
Clock. Let me know. And why are you messing with my clock? Let me know that you are here. Show me some kind of sign. Do something. Did you just make the clock move? Alright, Alright, what the fuck was that? Alright, that clock just literally moved. Did you just make the clock move? Show me a sign. Do something. Holy fuck. Alright, that time, holy shit. Alright.
For some strange reason, the clock started going crazy for a split second before returning back to its normal state as if nothing happened at all. This left Roland not in a state of fear, but a state of utter disbelief as he stood there staring at the clock, almost as if he expected it to move again. Despite this crazy sighting though, Roland eventually became unfazed and decided to search the rest of his house for crazy stuff, and eventually he came across this.
There's someone upstairs! Alright. I swear it sounded like that f***ing chair just moved. Are you moving the chair? Okay. Alright. Why are you moving the chair? Are you trying to tell me something? Is there a reason why you're moving the chair in here? And messing with the clock? Can you speak to me? Can you let me know if you're happy or sad? Can you let me know?
Somehow the chair moved by itself, and this time Ronald was much more curious. It was very rare for a spirit to comply with him so easily, which took him aback, and understandably so. Camera-shy spirits are surprisingly very common, despite the endless amount of clips we see online of them doing whatever they want in front of one. These spirits will do everything in their power to torment somebody, and have the audacity to stop whenever they pull out a camera. This is horrible because it leads the victim to having no proof, and they cannot tell anyone without being deemed a psychopath. This was almost the harsh reality for Jack. Jack was certain that his house was haunted, as his last few weeks had been riddled with paranormal activity. Despite this, whenever he pulled out a camera, nothing would happen. He made it his mission to capture this spirit in the act, and would not stop until it gave up on trying to stay hidden, and eventually he succeeded.
Bro, our fridge just opened. We're trying to waste electricity. Hopefully we'll get some, because every time something happens I can barely ever catch it. I swear I just seen something move over there. Don't mind you, we gotta clean. I got a daughter, so she's a little reckless, and I gotta wash some cups. Bro, I just saw that out the corner of my eye. I wish I would have got that. Can you make it move again? No? Okay. Bro, stop playing with me. Hello? Hello? Can you do it again? Man. Bro, you just spilt water all over my floor, dude. Are you serious? Bro. Yo. You got water dripping all over my floor now. At least it's water. Wasting electricity. Let fucking air in my house. Alright, yo, I gotta clean this up. I might as well just do these dishes too, since I already got water all over my damn floor. Alright, y'all.
As surprising as this was for Jack, the spirit spilt water all over the room on camera, and this must have been really annoying for him. Although his goal had been reached and he managed to obtain actual footage of the ghost, it made a damn awful mess, and it took him 10 minutes to tidy up. I'm sure it was an accident from the ghost, and it was just trying to do as he asked, but this definitely was not as pleasant of an experience as Jack intended it to be. Zach and his family were all fast asleep late at night when the most unexpected alarm clock sounded. The only difference was that this one did not at all sound like an alarm, rather a bang. Curious as to what caused the bang, Zach decided he would go and investigate the room which he believed it came from. Little did he know that this was going to be a huge mistake. Strangely, the chair slid across the room, and Zach was understandably put into fear by this. He sprinted back to his bedroom, but was careful not to wake up his son and wife. When he arrived at his bed, he decided to check the cameras for what the bang truly was, and this is what he discovered. If you were looking towards the right at the sofa, 2 toys fell from it without any human interaction. Upon checking this clip, Zach knew that his house must have been haunted and decided to start capturing as much evidence as possible. Make sure to subscribe because we will likely discuss the other evidence in future videos. On September 13th of 2018, Javier was sleeping home alone when one of the most disturbing nights of his life came to haunt him out of nowhere. We actually discussed Javier's backstory in another video on this channel, but in short, his brother, of whom he shared a haunted house with, passed away, and he was left to deal with the spirit alone. The doctors had no idea why he passed away, but they decided to pin it down to old age. Javier was convinced that the spirit did it to him. It was 3:12 a.m. on Javier's second week without his brother when the following clip was caught.
gente se cortó la luz. Estaba escuchando llorar a un bebé. La puta madre. ¡Oh, la puta madre!
For some bizarre reason, Javier could hear baby noises coming from the old playroom, and this made zero sense considering he had no children. As well as this, the spirit he was dealing with never actually made noise like this before, which was very trippy to say the least. Perhaps the ghost was starting to evolve. Who knows? What we do know is that Javier ended up selling the house on the housing market, but has not yet found a new place to stay. All we can do is wish him luck on this strugglesome search. In the following video, we step into the shoes of Henry, a British ghost hunter known for his bravery and ambition. He was renowned for being unable to feel fear in the spiritual industry, and was one of the go-to people in his local area if you were suffering a ghostly problem. He had been doing the job for 3 years after all. Now, we actually looked into Harry in a very recent video on this channel, so you should do some scouring around for him. But essentially, he went on a ghost hunting mission to a mansion known as the Place of Nightmares. This mansion was so ridiculously riddled with the paranormal that it was able to create a full 20-minute video of clips for Harry, which I am slowly discussing across my videos, so subscribe to not miss them. Anyway, in the specific clip that you are about to see, Harry was wandering through the corridors of this building when he heard some suspicious noises coming from behind. Instinctively, he followed these noises trying to get some extra content, and indeed he did.
To be fair, the building's full of water. I'm not surprised I'm hearing shit. I'm hearing so much stuff, man. I'm gonna try and ignore it. Until I get a clear sign there is somebody here. Oh my god.
If you were paying very close attention as Harry reached the bottom of the stairs, a shadow figure could be seen in the doorway, and it is important to note that this was a solo mission without even a camera crew. Some leading theories were that this was a homeless man, or Harry was just lying, but I believe that the figure looked way too dark and mysterious to have been a human from the land of the living. That is for you to decide in the comments, though. The man you are about to watch the footage from was called Paul, and he formerly lived a very haunted life. His old house was absolutely horrible for paranormal activity, and the spirits would go as far as launching dangerous objects directly at him. It was not a nice experience at all. Fortunately, Paul was in a great position to move house though, and moved closer to the deserts in Nevada. However, it was not long until he discovered that he had not abandoned his spirit, just relocated it.
Hello? Hello?
This was the first time since moving house that Paul experienced something along these lines, and it really took him off guard. He never gave the idea of the spirit tracking him down any thought and dismissed it, even after his wife explained it to him several times. He paid the price, clearly. The unlucky thing is that he could not afford to move house again, so was stuck in that property for a good few years. It is unknown whether or not he managed to relocate without the poltergeist by his side, but you will be the first to know if that does happen. Hotels are supposed to be a place of peace and comfort where people can visit to have a healthy and safe night. Of course, these services cost money, but if you were the person in the next clip, then you would most certainly want a refund, because his experience was horrific. It was so poor that he published the video onto the Google reviews section of the hotel, so that everybody could be aware of what it had in store, and it is safe to say that this may have driven away a couple of customers.
A couple times already. And I don't know. Oh, crap. I know I got that. That's crazy. The phone, anything? Oh. Can you tell me your name? I can't hear you. Can you maybe speak a little louder? Oh my goodness. Okay, I know you're in here. I just want to know what your name is. And if there's anything I can do to help you. Is there anything at all? Can you tell me what it is that you're looking for?
Somehow, the telephone continued to fall off of its stand, despite being well balanced, and the towel and hanger even managed to join in on the fun. Now this was obviously shocking for Joe, the recorder, who only wanted to stay for a night but actually decided to check out of the hotel 4 hours early. He spent the next week or so beckoning for a refund from the hotel, but to his dismay, they did not permit one, considering that what happened was out of control. Should he have received his refund? I am keen to hear what you think about this in the comment section. The man you are about to watch the footage from was called Paul, and he formerly lived a very haunted life. His old house was absolutely horrible for paranormal activity, and the spirits would go as far as launching dangerous objects directly at him. It was not a nice experience at all. Fortunately, Paul was in a great position to move house though, and moved closer to the deserts in Nevada. However, it was not long until he discovered that he had not abandoned his spirit, just relocated it. This was the first time since moving house that Paul experienced something along these lines, and it really took him off guard. He never gave the idea of the spirit tracking him down any thought and dismissed it, even after his wife explained it to him several times. He paid the price, clearly. The unlucky thing is that he could not afford to move house again, so was stuck in that property for a good few years. It is unknown whether or not he managed to relocate without the poltergeist by his side, but you will be the first to know if that does happen. The following video was captured and uploaded to YouTube by a user deemed as Mr. Spouter, who doesn't usually record any paranormal videos. He had been living in the same house for over 5 years and had never experienced anything that he would consider to be strange or paranormal. As we all know though, trends and patterns always come to an end, and it was definitely the end of this one. It was 3 a.m. at night when it was filmed, and no one can explain it to this day. Take a look.
Something banging then. Something was banging. I'm talking to myself. Something was banging, like on my stairs. Dusty as fuck. I'm being a pussy. Go on, you fucking pussy. What the fuck? Is that a nib as well? What was that? What the fuck? Fucking something there. What the fuck?
Now, during the clip, you couldn't actually see what happened to Mr. Spouter, but he made sure to explain it in a later upload. He claimed that something or someone pinched him as he was looking down the stairs, but to no surprise, he didn't convince anyone and was called a faker. Regardless though, that was only 50% of the video, and something much more convincing was showcased.
Freaking myself out, man. Fucking hell. Calm down. What the fuck was that? What's that? What the fuck? Something up there. What the What the
I can't quite decipher what the item was, but something slid across the cupboard by its own accord. This must have been impossible without any strings attached to it, but no matter how far we zoom in, nothing can be seen attached to it. This was 100% the act of a ghost, but feel free to argue against that in the comments. These two women were looking to sell their house and move into a new one, so they decided to go around the area in search of a one-floor cottage. In the clip, you're about to be exposed to the duo searching an old house that was very cheap on the market, but would take some upgrading. Fortunately, they both enjoyed decorating and transforming houses though, so it would have been no problem if they actually followed through with the purchase. Why didn't they? Well, have a watch and find out for yourself.
Não me acostumei mais.
Mesmo sem querer vir.
Essas coisas existem. Meu pai.
Olha, tá vendo aí, ó. Faz tempo. Misericórdia. Ai, pera ainda. Eu vi.
Mulher, o que foi isso? Pelo amor de Deus.
Tava balançando aí.
Ai,
Ô, Tico.
ai.
Olha.
Ui. Mulher.
Olha. Misericórdia ali, ó. Eita, meu Jesus. Eu vou dizer um negócio, viu? Olha. Eu vou dizer a tu. Eu tô toda arrupiada.
Meu Deus do céu, o que foi aquilo, mulher? Tu viu?
Vi.
Understandably, the duo sprinted out of the house as quickly as they possibly could and confirmed that they were not going to be buying the cottage. When the owner asked them why this was the case, they showed him the video and he was genuinely in shock. The house had never seen anything like that in the past, and he apologized for putting it on the market in that state. They accepted this apology and left. If you were to visit a haunted house, what would be the last room you would consider visiting? Let me know in the comments, but I know that there is only one correct answer to such a question: the basement. The basement is known for being the epicenter of paranormal activity in most places because it is so tucked away. The majority of haunted videos come from this type of room, and that statistic keeps on becoming stronger, fortified by the following video. It was taken at 10 p.m. and the filmer, Joshua, heard noises coming from the basement whilst he was tucking his daughter into her bed. He was brave. He went to investigate.
Hello? I'm gonna turn on the light. All right? Hello? Hello? No. Okay. I heard something. Nothing? Is anyone there? Whoa, Jesus!
Weirdly, the closet slid across the floor by itself, and it was clear that nothing triggered this. The fact it was clear helped that conclusion come around. However, there was no concrete evidence that this was the case. It just kind of made sense, so the family stuck with it. Due to this, they couldn't get anyone to come and try to get rid of the ghost because there was no real evidence of one being there, at least not during that current moment. A few days later, at the exact same time, which was already odd enough, Joshua heard more noises from down in the basement whilst he was upstairs and decided to take a look again. This time, he filmed something much more severe.
The following footage was recorded after hearing voices from upstairs. Please be advised, the images that you see may be disturbing.
I heard some noises again. Hello? No!
Let's watch that again, here, and slow it down. Here is a close-up image of the figure that was seen walking across the doorway at the bottom of the stairs. This image can still not be explained.
It doesn't even take a zoom in to notice that there was a shadow figure walking past the door, clearly trying to freak Joshua out. It succeeded if that was its mission. After seeing this, he locked the door to the basement with a padlock and wooden barriers before finally contacting the church to come and help. This was the last update we were given. Lamine, a young boy in college known for sharing his name with soccer player Lamine Yamal, was left home alone by his parents one night as they wanted to go to a hotel and have some alone time. They had been talking about having another child for quite some time, and Lamine really wanted a brother, so he was happy that this was finally going to come about. Little did any of them know, though, that this would turn out to be the creepiest night of Lamie's life so far. It was 4 a.m. when this video was captured, and he had been woken up by the noise of a rattling door. Lamine was in fear because perhaps burglars were taking advantage of his parents not being home. However, after what was about to happen, he was wishing that that was the actual case.
Estaba jugando a la PC. Si escuchan, literalmente me estaban
golpeando la puerta. Me están golpeando la puerta, mejor dicho. Voy a ver todo. Miren, no hay nadie del otro lado. No hay nadie del otro lado. Tengo las luces prendidas como me dijeron, tengo todo ahora. Pero quiero que vean que acá no hay nadie. Tengo todo absolutamente. Grabé del otro lado y todo.
After opening the door, he found that nobody was on the other side, and when he decided to just go and play on his PC until his parents came home, he heard a bang. Understandably, for his young age, he ran to his bedroom and hid under the covers until he fell fast asleep. His parents arrived home the next day, and nothing similar happened since. Security cameras are a useful device set up in most buildings across the globe. They excel in deterring thieves and criminals in general from doing things that they shouldn't, because if they do, it'll all be on camera and hence it becomes easy to bust them. There is one type of species that is not intimidated by the presence of these cameras though, and it happens to be the creatures from the paranormal world. Ghosts live in no fear of security cameras because they are invisible and don't pay the consequences even if they do get caught in the act. The one in the following video definitely took advantage of this.
Hittek el már megint mi történt a mai live alatt? Konkrétan a kutya fél órán át valamit ugatott a nappaliba, egy árnyat, konkrétan vissza kellett nézni a lakásban a kamerákat, hogy mi az Isten volt, nézzétek meg ti is, nagyon para, azóta Zafi be van fosva. Már konkrétan több mint fél éve érzékeljük ezeket a szellemjárásokat, és fogalmam sincs, hogy mit csináljunk. Nagyon para, srácok.
At first, you could see the dog barking at utter nothingness, which left everybody in a state of confusion. However, just moments after a shadow glided across the room and the chair moved by itself. Very spooky indeed. After reviewing this footage, the woman, Sienna, refused to believe that it was a ghost and got on with life like nothing happened at all. She would regret this very soon though. Over the next few days, not much happened, other than the fact the entrance to one of her storage areas fell off down the stairs. This was strange in itself, because it was screwed on very well, but Sienna didn't pick up on the oddness about it. She spoke to her boyfriend and asked him if he could fix it for her, but he said she should take a look inside first. For all they knew, there could have been a squatter making the place their home, and they didn't want to deal with anything like that. Listening to her boyfriend, Sienna took her phone camera and investigated. What she found was definitely unexpected.
És az esett le ide?
Igen, az ott volt lent.
Hát ilyen szervizalagút szerintem.
Ja, de ilyen több is van a lakásban.
A szobába is.
Meg a madaras szobába is van.
Le tudsz szedni, vagy?
Nagyon hideg jön, de nem látok be. Szerintem fel kell emelni.
Ugasson meg. Erre a kamerát, ezt felemelek. Na mi van? Belátszik? Látszik semmi. Lakik ott benne valaki, tudod. Az mi? Az micsoda? Ez fel van akasztva ennyi.
Ez egy papa.
És látszik valami.
Itt is van egy, de ezt nem tudjuk kinyitni. A stúdióban is van egy ilyen pici ajtó.
For some very odd reason, 3 sticks were hung by string at the entrance, and the last time they entered, there was nothing like this. Something of that sort cannot happen naturally, so someone must have tied them together. The real question beckoning their minds now was who. There was only one way to find the answer to such an open-ended question, though. The couple had to be brave and enter the secret room together to give it a proper search. They grabbed a torch and their phones before clambering into the tiny hole. This is what happened inside.
Vettünk 2 zseblámpát, hogy lássunk a járatba, és azt mondtátok, hogy nem mozdítsuk el a voodoo papát, úgyhogy ahhoz nem fogunk hozzányúlni. Én nem akarok előre menni.
Akkor megyek én előtte meg, jössz mögöttem és világítasz. Akkor nem érünk hozzá.
Csak óvatosan.
Jössz? Itt van valami előttünk.
Itt el tudunk menni?
Szerintem ja. De vigyázz a tiszta pókáló minden. Nagyon szűk a hely. Aha. Mi volt ez?
Nézd oda, annyira hideg van, hogy látszik a leheletem.
Azt a kurva.
Úristen, mi az ott? Világíts gyorsan oda.
Hol?
Ott.
Jézusom, menjünk.
Hol lesz a voodoo baba? Eltűnt.
De madzag még itt van. Foglald össze.
Nem tudom, hogy ti láttátok a videón, de volt ott valaki. És a voodoo babát sehol sem találtuk. Mióta kijöttünk, Zafi folyamatosan ugatja a járatot.
Strangely, a pale-looking object dashed into cover once they pointed their flashlight on it. Unfortunately, it wasn't visible for long enough to uncover what it was, but be my guest and let everyone know in the comments if you think you have an answer. Making things even more unsettling, the dog would continuously bark at the entrance night and day, which made things difficult. Sleeping at night was very hard, and enjoying the daytime was even worsely barricaded. Not as badly as the entrance to the secret room, though. After realizing that something was living in there, the boyfriend took his hammer and some wooden planks and shut the door tight, making sure that even if a human was on the other side, it wouldn't be able to break itself free. This plan backfired horrendously, though, and here's why. Somehow, the spirit managed to escape the room and cause havoc all around the household, which confirmed to the couple that they were indeed being haunted by something. This had never happened to them before, and they had no idea how to react to it, and they still don't to this day. Ali was watching some television in the living room when he discovered something absurd was taunting him. It was roughly 1 p.m. in the afternoon, the time of which you would least expect the paranormal to prosper. However, this wasn't the case for Ali.
Здравствуйте, это моя машина. Что хочу про нее рассказать? Опа, что там происходит? Бутылочка упала. Что это такое? Не понял. Что это там? Непонятно. Ого. Непонятно. Что там такое? Ого. Ай-яй-яй.
Seemingly out of the blue, Ali started to hear the noise of items dropping, which really confused him since nothing was visibly falling. It could have been his wife upstairs though, so he decided to pass it off as that and continue watching his show. Not the best decision of his life for sure. The banging carried on, except the location of them changed. What prior sounded like the bangs were above him was now occurring in the same room, and he decided to get up and investigate. It was at this moment that he witnessed a shirt moving by itself. Making things much worse, Ali called for his wife to ask what was happening, and he received no response. He later found out that she was doing some shopping to stock up the fridge. Someone or something was tormenting him that afternoon, and he still has no idea what it was, and he likely never will. While most spirits are discreet about their actions, others tend to be very out there, and that can definitely be said about the spirit in the next clip. Sufyan was working in a factory in the middle of the day, and this was deemed by him to be his most boring shift of the week. Barely anything went on during Tuesdays, and the shift consisted of sitting around and answering the odd phone call. However, the one-off incident in the following video was far from boring. I'm sure the employee would have still preferred the boring time though. Somehow, the ladder started walking off almost like a dog as its four legs moved in the motion that the domestic animals would do. This was very creepy, as it should have been impossible for a piece of equipment to move in such a manner. If there is one thing you have learned from this channel though, it is that when the paranormal gets involved, the impossible becomes more than possible. On October 13th of 2019, a couple were in the kitchen when one of the most absurd phenomena of their lives came to them. After the video, the woman explained that she no longer felt safe in the kitchen alone and always wanted her man in there with her, who surprisingly was not nearly as fazed. It was roughly 9 p.m. when the following footage was captured on their security camera. Take a look. The whisk managed to turn itself on without any human interaction, and this seemed very unlikely to have happened without a spirit. In order to activate the electric whisk, you would have to press down a button very hard because it was getting old and stiff. The couple could barely apply enough pressure to make it work, so it was almost impossible for something else to. Regardless of the odds though, the whisk prevailed and left the poor couple shivering. This wasn't enough to completely put them off the kitchen though, not that the next encounter wouldn't do the job.
Яйца пожарь.
If the last encounter with the spirit was not believable enough for the couple, then this one most certainly was. Not only did the stove activate itself randomly, the saucepan also moved over it, indicating that the ghost wanted to get its chef hat on. The man did come back with a very humorous response though, and it put the spirit right back into its place. He placed some eggs next to the scene, prompting it to cook them for him, almost like a servant. If that isn't an expert way to handle such a stressful situation for most, then I don't know what is. Vacation is the best part of most people's years, and it's understandable why. Traveling the world to experience new cultures, sights, and cuisines is interesting, refreshing, and fun. However, there is one key risk with taking extensive breaks: robberies. Burglars are smart and target homes of which the residents are far away, so that if they take action, it becomes highly unlikely that someone can prevent them. In our next clip, it featured a middle-aged woman whose best friends across the road were flying out to Europe from the USA. They gave her the house keys and asked for the building to be checked up on every other day, and they would return the favor once the vice versa happened, the woman going abroad. They both expected nothing to happen, and this was simply a safety precaution just in case of an event. To their dismay though, something did occur, but nothing they could have predicted.
No, no es normal eso. Ahí paró. Porque no es que sube y baja así desde...
Immediately after noticing that someone was in the house, the woman called 911 to report a potential robbery. The police were sent out to the building and gave it a thorough search. Nothing was missing, there was no sign of a break-in, and none of the lights ended up being turned on. The woman was fortunate to have captured a video, otherwise she would have been charged for a false report. After reviewing the footage, the police thought it must have been the shadows being casted, and the light was on because LEDs can quote-unquote glitch. I think we all know what really happened that night though. In the following video, Eiji, a recent university graduate, was in his house about to take a shower. He had been through a long day at his part-time job, and was more than ready to quit in 2 months' time before his huge gap year where he was going to travel the entirety of Europe with his friends. This is besides the point though. AG was tired, very tired, and all he needed was a relaxing shower to take everything off his mind. Regardless of this being a necessity though, a certain spirit wasn't too chuffed with the idea. Randomly, AG heard laughter coming from all of the rooms around him, as well as several toiletry noises. From flushing toilets to dropping items, this spirit was not playing nice, and it had the man in complete confusion. In the end, he decided to pin it onto plumbing-related issues, and called his local plumbing service to come and sort it out. He was a big believer in logical solutions, and couldn't bring himself to see the possibility of it being a ghost. This would soon change, though. 2 days after the shower incident, AG was doing one of his main hobbies, playing the piano, when the same thing came to strike again. Have a watch.
Nggak masuk akal. Ini masih siang, masih jam 1:30.
Whilst playing, he suddenly heard a bang and went outside to investigate what it was. He was hoping that it was nothing to do with the infrastructure out there, as it needed some work doing. Fortunately for him, there was nothing there and no signs of any damage. However, all of his luck status vanished when he came back inside the house. First of all, the piano started playing on its own accord, and to make things even worse, a shirt slipped under the door in the most unnatural way possible. While all of these events officially made him terrified of the house, it wasn't enough to put him off of his piano hobby just yet though, and he went on to play for another day. Everything was okay during his next session, and nothing came of it whatsoever. However, he got too confident and started playing again after a break as small as 10 minutes. It was here that the spirit struck again. After hearing this evil kind of cackle, Eggy took a step back and really considered his life choices. Never in a million years would he have expected his piano of all things to be haunted, but he did not want to sell it. That piano was the one he used from day one. It was going to be the piece of equipment that traveled by his side from zero to hero, and he wasn't going to allow a silly ghost to ruin this. Angry, he went to his home gym to do some boxing practice. He usually practiced when mad because he could get the most out of his punches, but even this didn't act as a liable escape from the paranormal.
Keadaan nyala, Cok. Nggak ada orang.
From the laughter to the piano, the exact same events were unfolding, and it began to seem inescapable for Eiji. This is when he decided to make the most impactful decision of his life, but not impactful in a good way. He listed his piano on eBay for a few $100s, and fortunately, it was sold and shipped very quickly. There was one thing that the buyer forgot to collect though, the spirit.
Ini jam berapa sih? 11. Jing dalam keadaan nyala ya. Ya Allah.
Now at first, the woman looked exactly like Eigi's girlfriend, but on camera, she vanished out of thin air. The real question is whether or not the cause of this happened to be a camera glitch. Considering the efficiency of that thing though, it was a highly unlikely possibility. Haunted exploration is a hobby that many people enjoy, but others actually get paid for it. Yes, one of the world's many professions include documenting paranormal activity, and the person in the following video did this. It was late at night, and Wataru, a Japanese ghost hunter, decided he would spend the day exploring the old house of an ancient cult. The cult died off 5 years ago, but many said that their spirits still haunt the house to this day. Wataru was paid by a few people who were curious for answers. On his 15-minute adventure, he came across a few things, but surprisingly, not as much as the audience expected from him. Today we'll look at one of the most prominent, which definitely left him believing that despite the cult being dead, they still owned the property.
Hello. Assalamualaikum. Turn off the light.
Hello. Welcome. Hello. Welcome. I was a child. Hello. Welcome.
Okay. Whoa. If you're outside, come on in. Show us your...
Shortly after greeting whatever could possibly have been in the room, something fell from a shelf, and this was very unnatural, considering the ground did not shake in the slightest. Paired with this, Wataru explained that he could sense a weird aura in the room, and his hairs stood up on his neck, which was a very clear sign that something of paranormal essence was there. It's safe to say that the house still hosted the cult, and Wataru made some decent money from his findings. However, he was spooked and considered quitting the job forever. We don't know if he followed through with this decision. In the following video, a man was in his house alone when an unknown entity decided to reveal its presence. It was 2 a.m. and Abdul was enjoying his night without his wife. He ate a lot of the food from the fridge and watched some television, but then he remembered he needed to iron his clothes as he had work in the afternoon of the next day. He went upstairs and grabbed the board, but it was when he came back that something shocking took place. Somehow, the board continuously moved without any human interaction, and Abdul was left completely and utterly stunned. He spectated the movement for a solid 10 seconds before deciding it was best to leave the room and go straight to bed. His wife told him off for not completing the ironing, but Abdul explained that it was more than worth it. He has never encountered anything similar since. The man in the upcoming piece of footage was actually in a similar situation to the one in the last clip. Abdul. He was called Alex, and he was home alone one night. His wife was out clubbing for one of her best friend's birthdays, and this understandably left Alex feeling quite restless and uneasy. He decided he wasn't going to sleep until she was finished up, and asked her to call if she wanted a pickup. She said she would. It reached around 1 a.m. in the morning, and Alex told his girl that if she didn't send a text by that time, he would start to get very worried, and lived up to that. He started wandering the house with his phone, begging for a phone call, but just as he was about to dial her number, the weirdest night of his life began.
Is anybody here? Oh my god, man. What the fuck? No fucking shit. Hello? I heard you. No. No fucking way. No fucking way. Oh my god. Hello? And I swear I just saw a fucking shadow moving here. So what's this fucking light switch? Oh man, I'm absolutely fucking shitting myself. No. That can't be. Fuck off. Holy fucking shit. Nah, fuck this, oh, no. Nah, fuck this, I'm out of here. Goodbye. Fuck this fucking...
First of all, the lights started flickering, but this could easily have been an electricity issue, so this wasn't any evidence of the paranormal. However, once Alex entered the kitchen, all hell broke loose. Literally. From cutlery flying to tables moving, Alex had no idea what on earth was going on and left the house immediately. He drove to the club to join his girl, and they stayed for another few hours before going back home. Nothing else happened when they arrived back. These security guards noticed a disturbance outside, so sent the head one, Haseb, to go and investigate. Hasib brought a walkie-talkie with him to make sure he could communicate with the others inside who had cameras on every inch of the premises. This way, if any harm came his way, he could be notified in time to escape. He walked down the car park and looked around to see if he could find the black figure that they saw on the CCTV just moments ago. However, he didn't see anything. On the other hand though, the people on the cameras did.
Gerardo, fíjate detrás tuyo. Perilla. Ma, usted está copiando el monitor, mae. Tiene algo. ¿Salió algo ahí? Correcto. Aquí salió algo raro. Mae. Y véngase mejor. Todo el día.
Strangely, a black figure seemingly riding a scooter could be seen behind Hasib, and the guards on the walkie-talkie quickly started shouting for him to turn around. With urgency, Hasib quickly turned to see what he was being asked to look at, but to his surprise, nothing was there. It had vanished. At first, he believed that the guards just played a trick on him, as it was a very banterful workplace. But once he came back inside, they showed him the footage. None of them can explain what happened to this day. Rachel was in her apartment on a Tuesday night when a boring day turned into an exciting one, but not the fun kind of exciting. She had experienced her first day of university lectures, and being honest with herself, she did not like it at all. Usually, when you are in a new class, it's a time to make new friends, and it turns out great. But unfortunately, she studied maths, and her class was full of antisocial people, not the best place for a good day. When she arrived back at her apartment, she kicked back and watched the new episode of her favorite show, but it didn't really go to plan because 15 minutes in, something crazy began.
Okay, hi. Sorry, I'm just watching something, but literally, hold on. There's no electricity in our place right now, okay? Turned it off, but I swear, shite. Okay, this door, Jesus, has been doing this literally all day. And look, the shite. Oh my god. Okay, looking out. Hello? What the fuck? Hold on. I'm going out there. I turned the flash on because I couldn't see shite out there. I have my epic mace. It's on. Okay. I swear. Blood of Jesus. Jesus. Oh my gosh, Jesus. Okay, this door always moves because of the wind. I'm not really worried about that. Hello? It's just like mad dark if I don't. Shit. Jesus, hold on. No. That, no.
Repetitively, the door started to bang and it really annoyed Rachel. She stood up to go and see what it was, but to her dismay, there was no one once she opened the door. On top of this, whilst she was standing in the corridor, a strange noise echoed down which freaked her out enough to turn back into her living room. This was the day that she found out her room was haunted. Arash was a young boy who was occasionally given the freedom to be home alone. Most of the time, his parents didn't trust him with such a big responsibility and asked his grandma to come and babysit. But fortunately for him, he was given a chance, which he was every other week. You'd think his parents would have learned. Regardless, he was by himself one day when he heard the sound of one of his toys playing from the other room. Cautious, he decided to approach the scene, and this is what he came across.
Aku cakap last ni. Diamlah. Diamlah! Ingat aku takut. Kau nak ke kena buang tong sampah? Masuk dekat tong sampah, nak?
When he entered the room, his toy was on the floor doing its thing. However, nothing too wrong occurred, and Arash just assumed it was glitching. This would all change moments later though, when all sorts of objects started going wild for no reason whatsoever. Arash sprinted out of the room and closed the door between him and it behind him until his parents finally arrived home. They think he staged the video, but when you think deeper, why would he have done such a thing? He wanted to be left home alone, and all this did was force his parents against that decision. It was certainly the act of a spirit. It was a Tuesday night when DeMarcus was woken up by the alarming sound of the shower running. Annoyed, he quickly dressed into decent clothing whilst trying hard not to wake his wife up before going towards the bathroom. If it was one of his children, he was ready to ground them. He made it clear that their bedtime was 11 p.m., not 2 a.m. He gently tapped the door and asked who was inside, but received no response in return. He had to enter, except it was not what he expected standing behind the shower curtains.
Miren, miren. Miren, miren. Miren, miren eso ahí, cómo se... Es cosa mía. Mira, 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 mira. ¿Qué cojones? En el nombre de Jesús te reprendo. Me cubro con la sangre de Cristo. Miren, 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 miren.
Shockingly, nobody was in the shower, and it wasn't even turned on. This made so sense because the windows were clearly condensated, meaning that someone must have used it. But where were they? As well as this, the chain on the shower of which the water was meant to travel through started to move mysteriously, and this inflicted some serious confusion to DeMarcus. He wasn't done searching though. He ventured the entire house making sure that his family was safe, when suddenly he started to hear a repetitive knocking sound coming from a certain window. He went to check it out.
Tío, si aquí no pueden llegar. Miren esto. Está alto. Joder. ¿Qué mierda? ¿Qué es eso, tío? ¿Qué coño es eso? ¿Qué coño es eso?
At first, DeMarcus was completely baffled as to why all of this stuff was happening until he saw a figure through the window. This figure had clearly been causing the disturbances, and so DeMarcus was eager to find out what it was. He put on his socks and shoes and went outside, but to his dismay, there was nothing there. This Russian man set up alternating cameras in both the kitchen and the living room because he was convinced that his house was full to the brim with unholy spirits. He was so convinced that he actually visited his local church seeking for a priest who could perhaps help him with the situation. Unfortunately, there was not. You see, in order to have a priest come to bless your home of paranormal spirits, you must show concrete evidence that the place is haunted. Without this evidence, there is nothing they can do to help you out. The man in the following video was on a mission to obtain proof, and proof he obtained. From the singular crock to the books, it seemed that everything in the household was moving, bearing in mind that only 2 cameras were active, meaning that much more could have been happening in the other rooms. To my disappointment though, we must focus on the 2 rooms we have evidence for, and one thing becomes apparent in this next clip. Whatever on earth was haunting this house loved crocs, and I mean loved. Now for those of you wondering why the clip continuously cut, this was because the cameras kept on alternating and nothing was happening where the man was sleeping. Strangely, the crocs traveled from the shoe cupboard all the way to the room next to it in a matter of minutes. It is unknown why a spirit would decide to do something like this to someone, rather than moving stuff in front of them, and it left the poor man confused to say the least. What he did next was questionable though. He submitted the evidence to the priest and also posted it online. The reason for the online posting was far from expected though. He was attempting to sell the crocs to someone online, and their claim to fame was that they were haunted. Abandoned homes are some of the creepiest things ever because they come with a sense of emptiness and false security. Houses are meant to be a safe place for families to stay in, but when they are left untouched, all of this warmth and comfort is stripped away, and perhaps this is why they have such a tendency in becoming haunted. Anyways, that was too far, so let's get into the following clip. It took place at roughly 12:20 p.m. on a Monday night, and the cameraman was on his way home from work. On the way there, he claimed that he passed the abandoned house and nothing was up with it. This made what he was about to encounter ever more weirder. Have a look.
So this house, the first time we passed it, Chase said the bottom part was not blinking. It was on, but it wasn't blinking. See how the different lights are at different intervals? The kitchen light being on, and then in the fire room over there, there's a light that's going off and on. No one lives here. I think that no one lives here. No one lives here.
For some weird reason, all of the lights in the house were going crazy, and there is not a time in the world that you could convince me this was an electrical issue. The main reason being that the house was abandoned. Who on earth was paying the electricity bills in the first place? As well as this, each light was moving at a unique frequency which made things 100 times more disturbing for the driver. It is safe to say that he won't be paying that house another visit anytime soon. This woman does not have any children, please remember that. Now that you know this vital piece of information, we can get onto this clip. It took place in the house of Natasha, a single woman who was getting frustrated with life. She had always wanted a boyfriend, and was terrified that she wouldn't be able to experience the lifelong goal of raising a human. This wouldn't be the case after the upcoming clip. 7 p.m., October. For some awful reason, Natasha started to hear the laughter of a little child, and for understandable reasons paused the television and stood up. She was worried that someone had managed to get into the house, and if it really was a kid, then the stress of finding their parents would be very difficult. She turned a corner and saw a little kid peeking around at her, and she cautiously approached, in fear that she would frighten the poor soul. To her utter surprise, though, it disappeared in front of her very own eyes before bashing on the door. To this day, she still thinks of this event when hearing laughter, and the trauma is comparable to PTSD. The bad thing is that she can't get tested for it, because if she pulled up to the hospital saying she saw a baby disappear and is traumatized by it, the only thing they'd test her for is schizophrenia. The Midwest Ghost Hunter is a bloke known for his adventurous missions all across the nation with one goal in mind. He wants to prove that the paranormal world is real, defying all the sciences we have been taught. His real name is Derek, and in the video, you are about to see some highlights from. He was exploring, quoted, freaky haunted places, and little did he know that this would be one of his most active experiences of his career. The first clip took place on an old bridge that was used in ancient times to travel across a river. Unfortunately, the river had dried up over time and was no longer present on scene. Some of the people from that period were, though,
Oh, whoa. What the? Whoa, that branch just moved. I might be going crazy, but I saw that branch over there start swaying back and forth. I know it's windy, but it isn't that windy. Okay, I gotta check this out. It was this one. Right here. That thing was just moving like crazy. I mean, it's one thing if like all of the brush was moving, but it was just that single one, isolated. How do you explain that? I mean, I don't know if like insects crawling on it, maybe? A bird? If you're a spirit and you just moved this tree here, could you move it again? No way! It just moved! I gotta look at this. This thing just moved again on command. And look at this. For all the skeptics out there, there is no fishing line, nothing. Uncut video.
The baby tree waved by itself as if it was in the middle of a hurricane for a solid 2 seconds. The strangest part was that no other bushes or trees around it did the same thing, making it very clear to Derek that a spirit was on the scene. He decided to beckon the spirit for a second showing to prove to the camera that he was truly encountering something unnatural, and it listened. Regardless, this was not close to the most terrifying experience of his night, and things only get more spooky as we go along. This next clip was explained to be his most believable encounter at the time, and even he was considering his life choices. Take a look.
Whoa, I think I got something in that one. I caught another one. Whoa, there's a freaking mist. right over here. And it's gone now. It's completely gone. Whoa. Holy moly, it was just right over here. And now it's completely gone. Who's over here? Could you tell me your name? Are you the lady that they talk about? I'm so sorry what happened to you. That's so tragic. Could you tell me how it happened? I got a weird feeling over here. I'm getting like a tingly feeling in my whole body. Whoa! I just heard a woman's voice. I couldn't tell what she said, but it sounded like it came from like under the bridge. Hello there. I heard you loud and clear. Are you underneath this bridge? I'm gonna try to get as far down here as I can. Hello?
In the distance, Derek was convinced he saw the mist of a spirit, and after going to investigate, it vanished. Now he initially planned on cutting this section out of the final piece because it wasn't convincing enough to be included. However, it was what happened afterwards that made sure it made the cut. The voice of a woman echoed around him, and he was unable to decipher what it actually attempted to say to him. Fortunately for him though, this was peak content, and aligned with his goal of proving the theory of an afterlife. Whatever that voice was, it most definitely wasn't owned by a human, considering where he was. This was only moments away from being further proved correct.
Doesn't help that my booster light is starting to die. I'm relying on my flashlight. I can hear you clanging around over there. Oh, what the f? Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, I'm freaked out. I'm freaked out. My booster light is dying. I'm on my last set of batteries. I think I had enough of this place. Oh, what the f? Oh my god! Oh, what the f? Oh my god! Oh god. What the f was that? She literally splashed in the water. Yeah, that's it. I'm good.
Inexplicably, the voice of the woman returned, and Derek swore to have seen somebody on the other side of the bridge. This, followed by the fact that a massive splash happened below the structure, finally sent the man into flight mode, and his exploration of this area was deemed as complete. These Japanese girls were in the school bathrooms messing around when something came to tell them off for skipping their class. Surprisingly, it was not a teacher. The time was 1 p.m. and the girls were meant to be studying maths for their exam coming up. However, they brought it upon themselves to go and hide in the girls' bathrooms, considering their tutor was a male. Smart, yet stupid. They were all messing around in there, enjoying their self-inflicted free time, when suddenly, everything started to go downhill. It's called karma. Weirdly, they started to hear a banging sound from one of the stalls, and they let their curiosity get the better of them. They climbed up the adjacent toilet to get a view inside the stall and check what was going on, but for some reason, nobody was inside. The girl jumped into the stall and unlocked it from the inside, to which her friends were very impressed. It was in the last second that the pale face of a spirit was captured though, and all the girls clambered out of the toilets to greet their teacher, who gave them a very pleasing welcome gift: detention. Fishing is an activity practiced for many reasons. Some people do it in the wild for survival, needing the fresh meat that the sea creatures require to survive. On the other hand, people simply do it as a leisure activity, finding fun in catching what they can, and then releasing them back in the water to continue their life. In the video you are about to watch, the man was out catching fish for fun when something extremely disturbing happened upon arrival back to his base camp. The area had a toilet block, which was unisex and public to any people passing by. This is why the man was so concerned once he heard what he did coming from inside.
Yo, what the What the? Bro. There's nobody in here. Yo!
Strangely, the sound of a human, seemingly a female, screaming echoed around the base camp, and this was very disturbing. Being the brave man the fisher was though, he decided to enter the bathroom in case someone genuinely needed help. This was when he found nobody though. Graveyards are the most likely places in the world for someone to experience paranormal activity, and this is why they are such spooky locations at nighttime. Wandering around these places gives off an eerie feeling, and it is understandable why, considering how many dead people lie underneath you. The following video was captured in a graveyard and showcases one of the rare scenarios where a ghost was caught in the act on camera. Take a look.
Espíritu, alguna entidad, algún demonio de este lugar, quiero que me hagas un ruido y estás aquí conmigo. Solamente queremos ahí te encuentras con nosotros. Te estoy invocando y estás aquí conmigo. Solamente quiero saber que estás aquí conmigo. Ay, ya madre, no mames, no mames. Uy, oh madre, no manchen, no manchen, no manchen, no manchen, no manchen, no manchen. No manchen, no manchen, no manchen. Uy, oh madre. Uy, yo sé que te encuentras aquí. Yo sé que te encuentras en este lugar, queremos verte. Yo sé que te encuentras aquí. Ay, me dio miedo. Solamente queremos saber quién eres, qué es lo que necesitas. ¿Qué es lo que necesitas? Vieron, amigos, vieron.
Weirdly, the door opened on its own accord, and after revealing what was behind it, things got even scarier. Nothing. The fact that there was nothing visible in the area meant that something from the dead side of the world was tampering with the man that night, and it's safe to say he didn't enjoy it. These two women were getting ready to leave the house, but little did they know what was about to happen if they followed through. They had both been invited to their friend's 40th birthday party and had spent the entire morning getting ready for the event. They did their makeup, purchased new dresses, and even went as far as buying a very expensive present. It was undoubtedly going to be an amazing night, at least until they checked the cameras afterwards.
Ключи, карточка, разберешься, короче. Угу. Выключили. Вещи, давай.
Just as they left the room to leave for the party, they got a notification for movement in their room and decided to leave it and look later. Thank the Lord they did. Somehow, an item moved by itself the second they left, and they still haven't found out why to this day. The ashes of loved ones are often kept by families to always remember those who passed away. When someone dies, they have the option to be cremated or buried, and they make this choice prior to death. If they choose to be cremated, then the family has the option to keep hold of the ashes from the burning, and the owner of the upcoming Airbnb did this. He decided to place the ashes on the piano because she always loved to play it at night, but the guests of the Airbnb far from loved it. Confused? Watch the clip.
Okay, I usually do not, or I never have believed in like haunted stuff, okay? But I'm out at Skinny Atlas Lake, the Fingers Lakes in upstate New York. And the Airbnb I'm staying at, the guy did say, just FYI, we do have people say that they hear a piano play at night. And I thought it was bullshit. And I swear to God, I've heard it. It plays. There's nobody fucking in here. I'm going to walk over here. So in case I die, I have a documentation of it, okay? It's an old house. It's on a beautiful lake, though. But I did find out the guy who owns the place, daughter died in a car wreck, and her ashes are on the piano. God, I get chills, but that's the piano, and it plays at night, and it freaks me out. I have chill bumps just being in this room. I do not get a good vibe, but it's scary as shit.
Supposedly, the piano started playing at night, and the story is believable considering how dark the piano was, looming in the shadows. However, some people need to see it to believe it, and the creator of this video posted a second, actually capturing the piano on camera whilst it played. Undeniable proof.
I'm fucking telling you, this place is fucking haunted. Do you heard that?
Yeah, I can't do this shit. It's so scary.
No, you go in there with me.
Yes. You have to go first.
Stay behind me. Fuck you. It keeps playing, I swear. No, dude, I'm not going up in that bitch. It's this piano, I swear to God it is. No, dude, you got me fucked up. If I die, I swear, I will. Oh, shit! Dude, no.
After the two men argued for a moment over who would go first, they eventually went into the room and nothing happened, but not for long. A singular note was played on the piano, and they were both sent running to the local bar to drink their fear away. It took them 3 hours to return. On November 16th of 2013, Marcus, a young man, was in his apartment with his roommate when one of the weirdest things of his life happened. It was getting late, and he and Johnny, the roommate, decided they would go to sleep so they had enough energy for their early lecture the next day. They brushed their teeth, washed their faces, and followed their regular routines before going to their beds. This is the exact moment that the apartment suddenly filled with cold.
Rato que escuché algo, ¿viste? Uy. Uy, no, voy a prender la luz. Uy, voy a ver algo en el baño, el vaso. Uy, chamo. Ronnie, parate, chamo. Hey. Ronnie. Uy, la luz. Chamo, parate. Hey, Ronnie. ¡Ay! ¡Ay, chamo! ¡Uy! ¡Chamo! ¡Chamo, parate!
For some unknown reason, the door to the closet moved in Marcus's room, and he didn't know how to react other than beckoning for his roommate's assistance. Moments after ending the recording, Johnny stormed into the room, and all of a sudden the feeling of coldness left the household. Marcus still vividly remembers the event to this day and always tells it as a story. Children's songs can be the most wholesome things on the planet. They educate kids on all sorts of things and help them develop in general, serving the same purpose as children's stories. However, in some scenarios, these heartwarming tunes can turn into gut-wrenching nightmares and make things extremely demented. You see, at night, when there is nobody around, all these songs do is add to the eerie feeling that a ghost is hovering around the area, and in the following video, this was most definitely the case.
No, 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 no. No. No, no, no. No, 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 no puede ser. No, no, no. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. ¿A qué? ¿Me vas a comer? No, 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 me vas a comer. Me vas a comer bien la pija, ¿sabes? Actividad paranormal. Cuidado huevo, Ahí va. Tuki, Ahí va. Ahí va. Ahí está. Perfecto. Ahí está. Actividad paranormal. La verga. No, chúpame.
Disturbingly, the vehicle started playing the popular song Baby Shark, except it wasn't the same as usual. It made the room cold and tormented the victim so much that he was forced to put it outside. This is when things escalated to the next level and the door started knocking. He needed to stop recording and fueling the creature. He explained afterwards that the knocking continued for a good 17 minutes before coming to a halt, and he was given peace for the rest of the night. To his daughter's dismay though, he threw the vehicle into the trash, but made it up to her by purchasing a new one the next week. All he could do was hope that it wouldn't also be haunted. After purchasing the new bike for his daughter, things went fine for a solid week. He became so convinced that the house had no spirits in it that he finally turned off the air purifier, which he believed would help them. Little did he know that this was the worst mistake of his life, because just 3 hours after doing this act, all hell broke loose.
Vaya, pues. Estuve escuchando unos ruidos que venían de la pieza acá. ¿Qué mierda? Esto siempre tiene que pasar a la noche, hermano. Siempre tiene que pasar a la noche, brother. ¿Vos qué onda? ¿Vas a hablar ahora vos? ¿Vas a hablar? No vas a hablar, no vas a hablar. No sé la verdad, ¿qué decir? Mirá, escúchame. Punto número uno. Si vos pensás que me va a asustar cerrando y abriendo puertita, me podés comer bien los huevos, ¿está? Punto 2. Si te gusta abrir y cerrar puertita, me podés limpiar los platos, barrer un poquito, ¿sí? Y punto 3, me voy a dormir y te vas a dejar de romper la pelota, ¿estamos? Nada, es increíble. Bueno, bienvenidos a mi sitcom.
Out of nowhere, he couldn't find his daughter and searched the entire house for her. It was after checking her room, though, that the door slammed shut and he was taken very aback due to nobody being in there while he searched it. What made things even stranger is that the father decided to go to his ex house to see if she visited her, but she wasn't there. It was when he arrived home that his daughter was laying on her bed, like nothing happened in the first place. It was the morning of the solar eclipse, and the following family were really excited to see it. They were quite a young family compared to other ones, and the children especially weren't able to recall an eclipse happening in their lifetime. This called for some big hype towards the event, and they woke up very early out of excitement. I bet they regretted this though, because little did any of them know that the eldest child, Justin, was going to encounter a spirit that day. If you listen closely, you can hear a voice asking how Justin found it, but we don't know what it was yet, and neither did Justin. He ran upstairs to his mother's room, who decided to post the footage to social media and explain what happened publicly so that everyone could understand the story. And it was a very creepy story time, to say the least.
Where he dropped his noodles, he ran upstairs, came busting in my room, jumping all over my bed, hiding in the corner, screaming and hollering, saying he didn't want to die. Somebody was in the house, telling me to get mine because somebody was in the house. And I'm like trying to tell him to calm down, be quiet, so I can hear what he's saying. Like, nobody's in the house. I kept telling him, nobody's in the house. Like, calm down. What is wrong? What happened? But like, he kept yelling. And I'm like, calm down. So then I call my dad. And I'm like, Dad, man saying somebody in the house. He won't get out of my room so that I can get them out the closet so I could figure stuff out. And he would not move. We started hearing footsteps. I mean, big, heavy feet coming up the steps. So like now at this point, I'm terrified. I throw my robe on. I push him into the room with his brothers. I started coming down the steps with nothing in my hands. At this point, I'm just thinking I'm going to have to knock somebody backwards up the steps and just do what I got to do at this point because I got 5 kids in here. So I come down the steps. I'm like, I'm going to get my hammer because my hammer's normally in my closet, but I know it was downstairs.
Fortunately, after going down the stairs to check what was coming up, the mother found nothing at all, and she was very confused. Was this the act of a spirit? Let me know what you think in the comments. Edward, a strong believer in the paranormal world, had been experiencing paranormal activities for the past few months. Eventually, he had enough of the repetitive disruptions and decided to keep track of them through using a YouTube channel. Here, he would upload his documentations, whether that be first-hand phone footage or stuff from the security, and gather a binder of evidence for his local church, of which he wished to inform of the incidents. Here is one of the pieces of footage his cameras managed to capture.
Sunday the 19th of July.
Strangely, this ghost was extremely energetic and did things at an extraordinarily fast rate. It threw all sorts of items to the ground, including cutlery, which is dangerous considering Edward had a dog which would know no better than to stand on a fork or something silly like that. Edward brought this video to his local church in hopes that they would bless the household of any evil entities, and they happily did so. It is unknown whether or not this was a success or not. In the following video, an electric company came to visit a house that was being sold to new owners. They were paid to check up and fix any issues with the electricity, and their pay would fluctuate based on how many problems they actually ended up finding. During their stay, they discovered 4 electrical issues and got them fixed for the current owner. But there was one problem that could not be changed, no matter who was hired to make an impact. There was a paranormal entity present. For some strange reason, the ladder continued to move on its own accord and creeped away from the location that it was initially set in. This, for more than obvious reasons, freaked out the electrician in the room, who went on to show his clients the footage, and then the boss reported it to the owner. They negotiated a $50 pay rise for the inconvenience and finished the tasks on the day. The house was eventually sold to a new family, but little did they know what they were in store for. Children's toys are some of the most wholesome objects on the planet, designed to make little ones smile. They come in all sorts of forms, from dolls to cars, all the way to smaller instrument variations, so it's safe to say that there is a toy for every child imaginable. However, there is one instance that these toys become some of the most demented and uncomfortable things known to man, and the upcoming video is an example of this. Out of nowhere, once the man entered the room, the toy car jolted to the side, which made no sense considering it was not designed to move. Even if it was, he revealed that it had no batteries inside it, which also made the voice it made impossible. The toy was doing far too much that it shouldn't have been able to, so the father immediately pinned down the cause to being a paranormal entity. Was he correct? I guess we'll never know. But what we do know is that the toy truck is long gone. In a recent video on this channel, we explored the household of Letitia, a young French woman who had been experiencing a surge of paranormal activity out of nowhere. This paranormal activity led her to discover a key, which opened up the basement of which the previous owner stated they lost the keys for it. Regardless of whether they lied or genuinely thought that the keys were missing, Letitia ventured into the basement to see what was up with it, and it had a very odd feeling to it. It actually used to be an air raid shelter during the Second World War, and an unfortunate amount of people passed away in there. This perfectly explained the weird aura to it. After exploring, Letitia vowed to never enter the basement again and relocked it. She did keep the keys though, but there was one thing she didn't choose to keep: her vow.
C'est bon, je vais enlever l'échelle pour plus qu'il y ait des gens qui rentrent chez moi. Oh là là, ça fait trop peur. C'est par ici qu'ils doivent rentrer. J'ai des squatteurs chez moi, genre les squatteurs qui rentrent par ici. Ah, c'est bon. Donc maintenant les squatteurs ils vont plus jamais rentrer. J'espère que c'est fini cette histoire, genre. Donc je ferme et je récupère la clé. Je reviendrai plus jamais ici. Normalement il n'y aura plus de squatteurs. Parce que là, je crois que j'ai jamais vécu ça de ma vie. C'est vrai. La maison date de 1970. Franchement, c'est grave. J'ai trop envie de rentrer chez moi. Je fais que des cauchemars depuis que je suis ici. Regardez la tête des tableaux. Regardez à quel point ça fait flipper. J'ai remarqué il n'y a pas longtemps qu'il y a une empreinte ici. Là, on la voit bien. On la voit bien, regardez. Regardez.
Just 3 days after making her vow to never visit the basement again, she was down there, and this time she gave a more thorough search. In case you didn't watch the last video with Letitia featured, the first time she tried to enter, some kind of force pushed the door shut against her, so she was confident that someone was down there. Despite this confidence though, this search did nothing, and she walked back inside, confused with her confusion only being amplified from that point. Weirdly, some music started to play from the radio, and this made zero sense, because Letitia lived home alone. Unless her house had been burgled, it must have been a ghost that activated it. No one was in there. She had clearly released the spirits from the basement into the houser, and this scenario wasn't the only time that this became evident. On September 10th, 24 hours after the music played, Letitia was fixing something when some clutter could be heard from the kitchen. You know she had to go and investigate it, so she did, but what she came across was far from anything she could have ever dreamt of.
Je vais m'enfermer dans ma chambre. Oh la vache. De toute façon, tout ça c'est fini. En septembre, je rentre enfin chez moi. Je vous jure. Il y a la spatule qui est tombée par terre, genre. On est où?
Immediately after hearing the bang, she went into the kitchen and found that her spatula had somehow collapsed onto the floor. As well as this, many other objects chose to move in front of her very eyes, leaving her kitchen a mess. When an item fell from the cupboard, Letitia was sent running back to her bedroom in fear before locking the door closed. If the other events weren't enough to convince Letitia her house was haunted, this one definitely did, and she decided that it was time to take action on the spirits. She watched some YouTube tutorials on how to combat certain ghost types, and one came up for war ghosts, which she assumed these ones were. She listened to what it had to say.
Je suis retournée dans la maison hantée et on va essayer d'enlever les esprits qu'il y a dedans. Donc j'ai pris de la sauge, du sel.
J'ai entendu du bruit.
On va faire brûler la sauge, les gars, on va faire brûler la sauge. C'est bon. Les gars. Mon cœur, il bat à 3000. Écoutez mon cœur. Les gars, vous entendez mon cœur?
A shadow figure could be seen if you paid close attention to the glimpse of light by the door. It appeared to peek around the doorway at Letitia before slowly easing away once she turned in its direction. Fortunately, she missed out. This was the last video on the topic uploaded by the woman, although she did make a vow to continue updating us. If we've learned one thing about her from this story though, she doesn't keep vows, and it doesn't usually leave her in a good place. Marcus was searching an old sports stadium when he heard some repetitive banging coming from the changing rooms. The stadium was supposed to have nobody else present since it was no longer being used, but Marcus and his group really started to question this fact when this happened to them.
Bueno, ya son como las 11 de la noche y la tercera vez que estoy escuchando este ruido de mierda. No sé qué está pasando, pero lo quiero grabar ahora para que después me crea la gente, porque esto nunca me pasó y nada, lo quería grabar, no sé yo, estoy podrido, la concha de la lora. Digo, en linterna, no sé para que viera la tele. Dios. Puta que te parió. La puta que te parió. Concha de la lora. La concha de la lora. Pero como mierda puede ser que no haya nada hoy. Ya es la tercera vez. Tercera vez que entro y no hay nada. Dios, me quiero ir. Me quiero ir.
Randomly, they started to hear banging noises coming from the ground floor, and staying cautious, they ventured into the unknown. They came across a wooden door, and to their confusion, it was opening and closing itself repetitively. This was something that none of them could explain. Instinctively, they walked into the room to find out what on earth was going on, and found nothing. Surprisingly, the stadium had no background lore which could point into the direction of paranormal activity. Such an event was completely out of the blue and still goes unexplained to this day. The piece of footage you are about to see was captured using a vehicle's dash cam and was very fortunate to have been caught. The incident lasted a singular second, so it was the definition of blink, and you miss it. Luckily for us, cameras don't blink. It was 2 a.m. on a Tuesday night, and a man who had just finished work was driving home. His drive home was the most eventless time of the day, but he enjoyed it for that very reason. The lack of cars on the roads meant that he could drive a lot faster than usual and get away with it. The true dream of every driver. However, despite the smooth roads, there was something present that nobody on scene would have expected. Take a look.
You can go meet up with him and see if she can get him to confess. And it's a tough decision, I'm sure, but Amy ultimately agrees. She wears the wire, and she picks up Chuck, and she...
Early on in the clip, the faded figure of a human crossing the road could be seen, which was very clearly not a real person. If it was, then a car would have hit them. Which one didn't? This was very clearly a spirit having some late-night fun. Some of you are likely not convinced yet though, and I don't blame you. The amount of false sightings on this website are abundant, and you can't trust anything or anyone. Don't worry, this time we found some extra evidence.
So this is a follow-up video on my last TikTok, the one right before this, about the paranormal sighting that I seen. Just for people that are a little leery, thinking it was a person and not that it was some paranormal, some figure, some something. This just kind of adds into it that it probably is some type of paranormal thing. I had another driver reach out to me after I posted it on Facebook that he was going through there about 20 minutes before I did with another driver right behind him, and they seen the same thing as I did, but they just didn't catch it on camera. And today, at the same time as we went through there, there was a car accident, multiple cars. 2 people ended up dying. 2 people went to the hospital. Well, the 2 people that went to the hospital they gave a statement that they seen a white figure in the road, and that's why the one car swerved into the other car. And this was around the same exact time, but 1 day later than when I seen it and he seen it. And his brother's a state trooper and told him this. So I'm sure we'll be able to get these statements at some point in the future, but this just adds on to this might be real. This might not be somebody just walking in the road, because they said they tried to pull the cameras from the interstate and there was nobody walking in the road at that time. So you guys go ahead and pause and read that. Tell me this shit don't make sense. Tell me this don't make sense. If anybody knows anything else about this, it was on Illinois Highway 57 going northbound right after the 340, right in Markham, Illinois. Right after the 340 is where this happened. 2 days in a row. 2 days in a row. So y'all tell me if you know anything about any of this, or comment whatever you guys think about it, but it just keeps getting crazier and crazier.
The night after that incident, the faded spirit had another sighting, and this time around it caused an entire crash. I'm not going to reinstate what the man said since he already explained the situation, but what I will say is that you are crazy if that wasn't enough evidence for you to believe this scenario happened. The following video took place in Sam's house, a small YouTuber who works part-time at his local fast food restaurant. The clip begins at 2 a.m. and Sam was in bed until he was woken up by a very strange sequence of knocking. Now at first, Sam genuinely thought that someone was at the door, but this theory was about to be blasted out of the window. Take a look.
There's been someone knocking at my front door for the last 10 minutes or so, and they haven't stopped knocking. Hello? Who's there?
Randomly, the door started knocking in a pattern of 3, and what made this event odd for Sam is that it didn't stop. Whoever was behind that door really wanted to be let inside, and after some preparation, Sam opened the door. However, after scanning the outside area, nothing could be seen. Immediately, he slammed both of the doors shut and locked them, but then something even weirder happened.
What's going on here? Somebody's playing games and it's not funny. Are you kidding me?
No matter how many times Sam opened the doors, he was unable to catch whoever was doing this knocking. Sam believed it to be a teenager playing tricks on him and decided to gear up and go outside, but even after 20 minutes of searching, no one could be found. Was this a horror coincidence, or was it really a spirit ruining Sam's sleep? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The house in the upcoming video had recently been purchased and moved into by Leah and her family. Prior to this house, they had been renting a house in a very dodgy area, and they decided to move out to provide a better life for their children. At least they thought it would provide a better life. The following footage was captured using an iOS camera set up in the top corner of the room, and what it filmed was truly shocking. Despite closing the drawer and being sure that no one else was in the kitchen, Leah found out something horrible that evening. Since the drawer managed to open itself for a second time, she discovered that the house was haunted and quickly sprinted out of the place. At first, her boyfriend thought she was insane and tried to calm her down, but Leah was lucky that she remembered the iOS camera. Straight after the incident, she showed the footage to her boyfriend, and he too thought it was very fishy. However, there was nothing either of them could do. They were too poor to buy another house so fast, and this forced them to call the haunted location home. On November 15th of 2023, 3 people were on shift in a school office. Their roles were to make sure that the school was running smoothly and any children who came to them had their problems solved. Little did any of the staff know, though, that on this day they would be helping a new student, if that's what you could call it. It was roughly 2 p.m. and lunch break had just finished, so the corridors were quiet again, but the office definitely wasn't.
I mean, that was clear though. Like, that was super clear.
It was good.
You think it's funny? Yeah. Stop it. And then the freaking phone rings.
As odd as this might have been, the ghost sighting here actually made a lot of sense. Just 2 months before this incident, a student at the school had tragically died, and they happened to be a little girl. This little girl always visited the office and told jokes to the staff, as she had trouble socializing with people. The workers believed that the spirit trying to communicate with them here was the girl, and this left them feeling happy and disturbed at the exact same time. With the information on who the ghost was, the staff felt confident that it wasn't here to cause any harm and simply wanted to stay where it enjoyed most of its time. And with this confidence, they started to test its abilities. Just 3 days after the initial sighting, student service operator James Hill decided to take the ghost into a storage unit and see if the ghost could move a few things for him.
Do it again. Jesus Christ. Come on. You can do it. Move it. Come on, move it. Oh, shit. What the fuck? Stop. Stop. Move it. Come on. Can you knock it down? You can knock it down. Come on. Y'all, it... Come on. Y'all, that box is fucking moving. I can't even fucking say this right.
Come on. Stop. Nope. 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 We're done. We're done.
Strangely, despite all of the staff thinking James wouldn't capture anything, the ghost actually followed him to the storage room and did as he pleased. After being prompted to, it moved around a little box, and eventually, after some persuasion, it threw the box to the ground. James claimed this encounter increased his confidence that the spirit was of the little girl, because she was usually scared and nervous when doing troublesome things in school. This concludes why it took her so long to push the box onto the floor. For the past couple of months, house owner John Gregson had supposedly been hearing strange noises coming from his basement, and one day he decided it was time to investigate. When his family first moved into the house, John terraformed this room into a playroom for his daughter, and she loved it. But recently she wasn't down there as much, and he couldn't pinpoint whether she was getting too old or there was a much deeper cause.
Oh my... What are you doing there? Who are you?
I got you good.
Oh yes you did. Oh, you got my heart good.
As John exited the playroom with confidence that his daughter had pranked him, the lights turned themselves off, and the globe on the stairs jumped across them. This was completely unexplainable since no one else was down there, at least no regular person. What made this incident even stranger was what the audience thought of it when John uploaded it to social media. Quite a few comments suggested that the girl could possibly have been possessed when she claimed she tricked John, which disturbed him very much. He immediately went to get the entire Gregson family baptized and called it a day. None of them recorded any paranormal footage after this event, so it's assumed that the ghost has officially become detached. After being haunted for several years, the following family's house had been blessed by a priest, and supposedly everything was okay again. However, still skeptical, the mother and father deployed cameras in every single room as a just-in-case protocol, so if something else did happen, they had proof, and proof they got.
Willow, I already brushed your hair. Hey, how did this open?
I don't know.
Did you open it?
No, I didn't.
Let's look at the camera.
Wait, did I? Oh, right. Remember I opened it to get a hanger? Right?
This morning?
Yeah. Dad, when you were there.
Let me look.
I read a book that was funny. It was called Bunny Cakes. And it was a grandma's birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And a mom, there was 2 bunnies.
Okay.
They're making a cake.
Okay.
And a girl.
Okay.
Bunnies.
Whoa, what is this?
What is what? Oh, it opened on its own. Wait, can I see what opened on its own? What opened on its own? How did that do? That what opened on its own? I want to see that.
Your shirt's on backwards, honey.
That I want to see it. Show
Put
me.
your shirt's on backwards.
Okay. Can you see it? The closet opened by itself. Oh, I want to see that closet open.
But why did it happen, Willow?
I don't know. That show me again. I want to see it.
I'm kind of, I don't know. Perplexed.
As wisely stated by the little girl named Willow, the entire family was perplexed, and so am I. It's very unlikely that a closet built like the one on screen could swing open without anyone causing it to, leading me to believe that this was the return of the spirit that had haunted them for such a long time. Since the Gregson family had experienced this before, they went to the church again and asked the priest to come to their house and personally rid the spirit, to which he did, with success. For the past 2 years, no one in the house has heard any strange noises or witnessed any out-of-the-ordinary events, and they finally live in peace. But who knows, potentially the ghost could return a 3rd time, and even worse, it could become stronger. In the following video, a devoted Christian by the name of Chief decided to document his paranormal experience for the world to see. Since the solar eclipse, Chief had been hearing intense knocking coming from the exact same door, and in the upcoming clip, he tries to combat it.
It's just really been tripping me out. It's been doing this since the solar eclipse, I would say. And I don't really believe in ghosts. But this shit is really fucking with me. Look at this. It just stops. There ain't nothing going on. Look. What the fuck? What the actual Bro, there's no way. Wait, I'm gonna be like, alright, what the fuck? Shit's really freaking me out, y'all. If you've ever seen anything like this before, please let me know. Alright, so I've been taking some of you guys' advice. I got my holy water right here. I'm gonna insert the holy water into my water gun. Alright. And I got I'll just put it in the thing. I got the cross like you guys said, dude. I didn't really have any real wood, but see, the thing is, I don't even know if I'm actually hitting my op. Like, I feel like it's coming from over here. It don't do it when the door is closed. Like, it does not do it. I look stupid as fuck. Oh my God. I need to get out the house.
Somehow, despite clearing the entire room for any hiding people, no one was discovered, and Chief was left clueless as to who was doing the knocking. When he found out no one was behind the door, he turned to Snapchat and asked his friends what he should do, and they came up with a pretty strong plan. He was going to fill up his water gun with holy water and use pencils to form a cross at the back of it. With his friends being his only hope, Chief listened to them and shot the ghost in the bathroom. However, after this moment, the banging only got worse, and people speculate that the holy water only made the ghost more angry.
Y'all see it though, right? Y'all see that though, right?
After the banging intensified, Chief bolted the door to the wall in hope that the noise would stop completely, but that didn't happen. The ghost just infinitely knocked on the outside of the door instead of from the inside, which forced him to move house entirely. The ghost didn't follow Chief to his new home, but it was definitely a surreal experience to say the least.